Okay, so on with the subscribers from Max Preps and Comcast. So with today's intervention, we're doing looks on the Denali 2018 and the Yukon 2018, and so far we're working with game day statistics, Comcast statistics with a look from geometry and biology and physics, and being able to work with the item mechanics of the vehicles and the models of the made attachments. And it's pretty much where you're making more assignments for the documents to breach to in the future, and so you can have more to assign to in the future of 2029 or 2026. And it's pretty much as we're working with more of those beneficial productions at the beginning of the stage. So with that, you working with a group of W4s, and being able to look at W4s and yeah, I think that's about all we can do with that statistic at the time, is work with the W4s and be able to supply a look of 89,945 in tens, and being able to distribute it as paper, and being able to describe more of the effect that we want the lead after our afterpath of the city previews, after knowing more about 454 F451 proposition being placed in your local county records of North Austin, and being able to transition from North to East Austin. And, that's pretty much where you start a different trial, knowing the difference between 9 stores apiece, and being able to know the big acre of the land at the time. So it's pretty much as we working on more of property tax and more of real estate property investments at the time. So it's pretty much where you're looking to pay for more than just $361 of profits. That was 1861. Now it's 2024. So you got to be at least $89,945 up key, and you can't be $361, because that sure ain't 945 papers that you see. And it's pretty much where you're using more eco leaf and eco herb of 799% of 399%, which is close to 361%, as it takes more of that 399% intuitive acknowledgement. So it's pretty much where you getting your savings coming from, as you look at eco herb, and you looking more of eco leaf. So it's pretty much where you getting that whole identical look of the difference between a Yukon and a Denali at the same time, as you get those previews of those types of recommendations at that time. So as you look at it, you see that the trucks are there, and you see that they have their factual statements of up to about $89,945. You see that the doors are there. You see that the technology there. You see that the AC is going. You see that the sunroof is capable, and you see that type of good stuff at the time. So that's pretty much where it's showing you a capability of $89,946.45. Being the fact that the vehicle moves, and that's the last specification you need for it to be something in that net worth. So that's pretty much working with $3 million. So that's pretty much what I have on my collection, instead of spending 361 on 16 different units like that, whether it's a Yukon or a Denali. We want to spend 89,000 on a group of Yukon and Denali. So that's just my partake on wanting to buy the perfect vehicle for me, as I'm more advanced in my free trade agreement options, and, knowing more about common rights as that affects more of how you buy and how you purchase newer objectives from newer oppositions and other associates. And, it's pretty much when you just want to be able to gain common attributes and, be able to know more about the infrastructure that goes on in your habitats of your local county, as you learn that you're not flying to another state, but you're being able to drive it at another economy rating of 1939 and 2049 at the hour. So it's pretty much where you're using yellow, green, and orange statistics to promote for yellow, purple, and green coordinates. And it's pretty much where you're using 361 majority of the time. That's probably the only time that you're going to be able to use that 361 at. And it's pretty much where you're using geometry, slopes, and hypotenuse of angles at the time to promote more for that detail. So it's pretty much as you're using more of your highs and lows to promote more for your scenario balance. And that's what we're seeing here, other than it being more of a lawsuit or more of a because sometimes you see different passengers paying $361 for a 16 Yukon or 16 or 18 different Denali's, and it's pretty much where they're gonna go after that, But most of the time they're pretty insured by their insurance agency. So that's pretty much being able to put as much leisure on 1980 to 2024 as possible, as you gain more sustainability and comfort towards 2039 in 2066, and being able to know more about the comforts of contents then, and that's pretty much where you're gaining more respects to that. And another thing is, while we're getting our acknowledgement in right now, we can also be talking about how Texas history gained its independence, and being able to look towards Spain, Italy, and in Berlin to help out their 1936 to 2006 efforts. And it's pretty much where he worked with working with effects and stipulations viruses that had these types of details with it. So it provided enough precaution to promote the detail of it. So it's pretty much where you're working on the population of people at the time, and that's basically where you're bringing the whole community up together, and you're seeing the whole married group and census together, and you're seeing 464 different people, and you're only seeing 4 people eat every hour. So that's pretty much where you get more of the popular demand of urbanization, and being able to know more about the series of $95,000 and $595 of EcoLeaf and spectrum ratio, which is pretty much a newer software data engineered technology that uses money and banks with money as well as it would PMC2 squared. And it's pretty much where you're using that whole code from PMC2 squared, and it's producing, that's what EcoLeaf spectrum ratio produces for PMC2 squared statistics, so it can make its own money, and be able to make the revenue tax to make the customers more satisfied with what they want, and being able to create a great membership within the Austin county, and as being able to be part of 1998 to 1980 to 2028 to 2082, and being able to be part of the newer explorations, the newer explore yeah, new explorations of the world. It's pretty much working with 9:47 a.m. in the morning to about 3 in the evening. Working from February to September, and being able to understand more about the the Texas Food Bank, and understanding more about the sub organizations that I was raised up with, and being able to detect more of a better group method to consume more of their diets on a daily basis is pretty much what I distribute at the time. And it's pretty much as I work with different profiles and departments within that, we're pretty much on a private base of making 30 million a year. So it's pretty much using characteristics from purple, green, and orange of $28,887. So that could be coming from out of the agents, or it could be coming out of the bank accounts from MoneyGram or Western Union or whatever the case may be, as we work on that, and working with 30 gallons of juice, milk, and water at the time. So that's pretty much where you're working with more of that with the voters registration, and being able to promote more of what a high sufficiented vote would be if you voted for something max promotive of your state and balance of where you stay and how you represent your detail of the day. So it's not just working with some person and individual, but you working with the whole community as well. Just me talking, that's about 961 people instead of it being 3 people. So that's pretty much the detail that you have that gives you a specified analysis of how great you have it in 2006 of 2022, and being able to deposit more $3 million in for reference tax, being able to look more for reference tax for bigger companies, and it's pretty much where you're using more towards clothes and food, and being able to use your money in the positive rebalance of 371%. So with that, you're using EcoLeaf with TJ Maxx and Kohl's and Kmart as well. So it's pretty much where you're using more of that whole space storage coming from, and it's pretty much where you get more of DWL's industries characteristics coming along in 475 different area codes, and it's pretty much where you start in a state representation of the colony traits. So every different slogan is different, and that's basically what we've been getting for the last 9 years. So that's pretty much 2008 of 2018. We just ended that 2018, and we had that since we got off the bus at SoCal. So we just been working with that ever since then, and being able to complete different proposition acceptances, and understanding more about the town, city itself, and being able to compromise it back to his old self, 2008 to 2018, and being able to handle things and methods that are like those cows that you see at Mueller. You see Mueller cows, or you see downtown cows, or even those auditorium short cows. Understanding more about your native late nature in the Midwestern belt. You just talking to 9 and 6 year olds at the time, and not only are they the oldest, but they have options to where if you were that age, you have different statistics within that bracket, which lead up to about $95,000 a year at eco-leaf companies and eco-leaf inspired um companies. And it's pretty much as you starting a program for yourself, like it was Parks and Recs, Park and Recreation, Texas Parks and Wildlife, or just a normal day aquatics division type stuff. You working with 545 different packages of catfish going out. So that's basically where you working with $545 trans tax, and being able to look at more of how that handles the key under $39,675. So other than that, that's pretty much where you're working with equally spectrum ratios and understanding it, by the 39,000, understanding $39,000 from $5,000, and why is that more applicable that somebody would need $30,000 more than $5,000 if $5,000 is majority the max you can have, after 2010 to 2022 and 2048, and that's pretty much the max you can have after life starts all over again. So that's pretty much where we get more instances in that creative creation. So that's just one specification of a debate that I have going on with my voters' rights, and being able to look at my voter right activity, and understanding more of my consultant. You just got to be a person with common sense to have the option to give out water or to give out juice, and give out the plural meaning that it's supposed to. It's supposed to be giving out 1.5 ounce drinks when you can give out 4.5 drinks. That's just the problem that the conflict that we come to when we were working with more of Harabot code at the time. So it's pretty much working with 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour, purple, orange, and green statistics of 44, 75, 52. We're just working with different codes within Austin code to Austin aquatics, and different coordinates within those programs. So other than that, we're working with how to promote more for handling group situations. If somebody's wrong and can't admit it or won't admit it, or don't know that they know it, or not knowing that it's a positive question out there, being able to be notified that there's a positive question out there or not. That's what you're looking for. But other than that, everything is a robot code, and you're dealing with 1.5 compared to 4.5, and that's pretty much where you're looking at a greater population than one community versus one state. And, being able to look at that difference in Texas is pretty much where you get the local rule of Texas government, and being able to look at Texas law as one of those promotions. So that's basically what they use in law, is eye for an eye, where they can kill 461 of you if you kill 206 of them. So you're working with more of that action duty of a mayor group and census, and working with more of the human population of the deal. That's pretty much where you're going after you get to the group of communications after 97 to 52. 1997 to 2052, and being able to understand more of a counting process of that district. So I was using 1907 to 2010 at the hour of 46,619. So I was pretty much using systematic details of how to break down a problem or conflict or situation at the time. So it's pretty much using process of elimination. You just go ahead and um, a lead or a GDP effect, and being able to take a piece of a puzzle. You take a 3.1 situation and turn it into a bigger objective. So it's just looking at 1939 to 2049, just looking at an open case at the time. So that's pretty much where you're looking at 3x minus 3, and that's pretty much where you're crossing out 3, and being able to get some detail rather than getting none, and being able to look at all these details and being able to figure them out is what you're looking for at the time. So that's just looking at 10th and 12th grade of 2010 to 2012, as you got more correspondent to knowing what 16 touchdowns were about at the time, and what colony they were from, and what they meant to the world at the time. And that's pretty much where you're working on your rebase review, or your overview of how you thought of your school, and how you thought of the national anthem, and the basics of the detail, as far as knowing more about knowing who brought web to their attention, and being able to know more about the old days from the newer days, and understanding more of a described analysis that gives you more privilege of ownership, is pretty much what you're looking for after you're looking at BMW, of Lamborghini, of Maserati, of Lexus. You're looking at those cars. So it's pretty much where you're looking at $95,000 at profits of 375 bank accounts at the time, yellow, green, and blue. So that's just working with 2008 of 2024 bank accounts, which was never spent up at the time. At the time, if so, it was very little. You only spent like $545, the whole year. So it's pretty much, as you got that whole expense paid for, understanding more about how much you paid for your whole balance, as you got 275, 1.5 represented clients versus 442, 4.5 clients, is in being able to know that that 1.5 is always wrong if it's something that the 4.5 want. So that's pretty much where you're learning 1890 from 1980, and knowing a big chapter of Harry Potter, Goosebumps, Outsiders. You knowing more about that type of acknowledgments at the time. So it's pretty much as you gaining a spectrum for Common Sense and Commonwealth by Thomas Paine. So that's pretty much where you gain in that whole intervention, and knowing more about those types of details and common rights. You just being able to add 975% to 9745%, and being able to add more for Eco Herb and PMC2 squared, as you get 695 cars bought for the next day of purple, red, and green. So that's just basically looks of Urban Day looks of PMC2 squared in 2692 of 2026 to 2092, and being able to look more to the urban iconic future of having a driver's license, having a house, and having a vehicle, and being at work. And that's pretty much where you learn more of the common rights that I'm talking about at this time of area. So it's pretty much based off of my own profile for the last 12 years, and being able to use more of 12 years instead of 3 years investments of basically looking at the productivity of the production rate